Guests appear on the Smile Center hotline. Now, back to the Gabe Kuhn Show, presented by Caesars Sportsbook, inside Horseshoe Tunica on 92.9 FM ESPN.
Trevor Lane is a host of LakersNation and the Front Office Show with Keith Smith. He's on X at Trevor_Lane. Trevor, how are you, man? Long time no talk.
Doing well, Gabe. Yeah, happy to come on and talk some NBA basketball with you again, and hope you're doing well.
Yeah, absolutely. Back at you. Now, I do need to throw this out there because I think this is pretty cool. For my listeners that follow you and Keith with the Front Office Show, you guys have a new sort of place, new area that you can be searched on. You guys have partnered with the NBA, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we're going to be featured a bit on NBA TV. Going to be some stuff on the NBA app. So we're very excited about that. Of course, the show will still be on the YouTube channel and on the podcast feed and all of that. But we're excited to partner with the NBA and be able to put the Front Office Show there on their platforms as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Congrats on that. All right, now getting into the young season, we have some undefeateds out there. Thunder, not surprising, although I want to get back to them. But I want to start with the San Antonio Spurs. Every time I hear the name San Antonio Spurs or hear the name Victor Wembanyama, I just get reminded how screwed we are. I hate to say it that way, but Victor Wembanyama is playing unbelievable, and it feels like the training wheels, now that Mitch Johnson has taken over head coach, are completely off. Correct me if I'm wrong there.
Yeah, absolutely. Wemby is a dominant force. Now, I will say the Spurs haven't had the most difficult schedule in the NBA in the early going at this point. And so that's worth noting. I don't think they're going to go undefeated the entire way or anything. They do have an absurd point differential right now, plus 16.5, but they're 4-0. They're playing great basketball, and Victor Wembanyama has been unleashed. It's a specific change that they've made, and that's that Wemby is now not shooting the three at nearly the same rate that he used to. He's still taking the same number of shots. He's just taking those shots in the paint now instead of behind the arc. He went from 8.8 threes per game last season down to 2.8 this season. Those 6 shots, they've gone to paint touches, and he has been absolutely dominant there. I mean, every night he's doing something that literally no one else in the NBA could possibly hope to pull off.
The thing that amazes me is the grace he has with the basketball in his hand, his playmaking ability at that size. Like, I don't think we've ever seen anything quite like that. We've seen some tall, slender guys. Kevin Durant's a good example that can make some things happen on the offensive end, that can facilitate for their teammates, do things like that. But to be able to, on the back end, be as physical as he is and be able to move bodies the way he does, that's something that I don't know if I envisioned exactly when he came into the NBA. But it seems like he's got a knack for it, no doubt.
Yeah, there's almost a little bit of Giannis Antetokounmpo that's been added to his game, just with how he's able to lower the shoulder and drive in and guys bounce off of him. That's been really impressive. And now he's thrown in the dream shake that he picked up from Hakeem Olajuwon, trading with him over the summer. My goodness. And he's only 22 years old.
that too.
It is going to be a problem for a long, long time.
All right, now the Thunder have picked up right where they left off. They're at 5-0. I just need your professional opinion on this, and don't want to like hammer refs too bad or anything like that. But when you watch how they're officiated versus their opponent, like, is there any like hard feelings you have about that? Because whenever I watch a game by the Thunder, I do question sort of how the game's being called both ways. It feels like Thunder are able on the defensive end to be a lot more physical with their opponent than the opponent is allowed to be physical with, namely, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yeah, I think there's something to it. I mean, they basically went into last season with the mentality of we're going to foul a bunch and they're not going to be able to call the ball, and that's going to allow us to get away with some things. And they just became known as this ultra aggressive defense, and they seem to get more leeway, almost the way Draymond Green becomes impervious as soon as he gets one technical foul because nobody wants to kick him out of the game. The Thunder seem to be able to do whatever they want, play as physical as they want, and not get called for as many fouls. SGA gets some ticky-tack calls now and then, though. Free throws are way up around the NBA, and that could be some driving home some points of emphasis, and we'll see that back off as the season goes on. But you're not alone, certainly, in thinking that SGA gets a pretty beneficial whistle. He's a phenomenal player. He doesn't resort to some of the same things that we saw from, like a few years back when it was like James Harden and Trae Young and guys are just throwing themselves into other players and stuff. he can do a few things now and then, but I do think we'll see this ultimately calm down as we get further into the season, and those points of emphasis will be de-emphasized, for lack of a better term. And I think the foul calls will normalize to a degree.
All right, now first tier, they're certainly in it in the Western Conference and really in the NBA in general, but just for the Western Conference purposes. Who else do you put in that first tier of teams that can compete for a title in the Western Conference alongside the Thunder? Or is there a team, or do you think you just go straight to tier 2 before you start adding teams?
Yeah, I just go straight to tier 2. It's the
Right.
Thunder and then everybody else in the West. That's not to say other teams can't compete for a title. I just don't think there are other teams that are on the level of the Thunder. The Nuggets are a team that I think can get to that level and took the Thunder to 7 games last year. So that's a team that I think can give them a run and could beat them. That's certainly possible. But in terms of ranking them in tiers, the Thunder sit alone. Their defense is at a level that I don't know that anybody else can get to. They're very good offensively. Jalen Williams, when he gets back, is only going to make that even more so. And they just keep finding players.
AJ Mitchell.
They keep finding guys. AJ Mitchell. I mean, like, where did this guy? He was a second-round pick a couple of years ago, had some injuries last year. And now he's just making professional plays every given night, fitting right in with the Thunder. And they're as deep as ever. It's unbelievable what they're doing.
Now into the Eastern Conference, I think it's anybody's ball game. You know, we'll see how all this stuff ages. But there's a team that's pacing themselves pretty good to start. Now, granted, I could say the same thing that you said about the Spurs. You can look at their schedule and say, okay, there's not that much there. But the 76ers are 4-0 in large part, if not the only part, being Tyrese Maxey taking another leap scoring the basketball. He's been unreal, averaging 37 points per game through the first 4. And then VJ Edgecombe. Like that backcourt duo is pretty fun. I counted out the 76ers before the year. And I also said that it feels like their peak and their floor are so far apart. Like I don't know where they're going to fall on that, that spectrum. But the 76ers, what do you think about them through the early going? And do you think this emergence of VJ Edgecombe and the step from Tyrese Maxey can give them a reasonable shot in the Eastern Conference, especially once Joel Embiid starts playing a little bit better, if they get Paul George back? How do you feel about that team?
Yeah, I do think that the VJ Edgecombe situation and Tyrese Maxey, both those guys being significantly better than expected. And Tyrese has always been good, and I've been high on him for a bit now. But the level that he's at right now is absolutely incredible. It may be unsustainable, but it's absolutely incredible the level he's playing at. But VJ Edgecombe being this good this soon, if he can sustain this, 50% from the field right now, 40% from 3, I don't know that's sustainable for a rookie. But if he's anywhere close to this, that changes the entire analysis of the 76ers. Because I said the same thing. They're the hardest team to rank. You never know what you're going to get out of Joel Embiid if he's going to be on the floor. Same thing with Paul George. And so you just kind of lump them into the middle and know that if guys are healthy, they could be better than projected. If guys are not, they could be one of the worst teams in the conference, as we saw last year. But if VJ Edgecombe is a north of 20 points per game while giving you, let's say, between 5 to 6 rebounds and between 5 to 6 assists, if that's what he is as a player, then not only is Philly's ceiling much, much higher than what anybody would have expected, but it also means we've got a serious rookie of the year race. It's not just Cooper Flags. They're not just going to hand it to him. VJ Edgecombe is a real threat to go win this thing. Again, it's early, and we'll see where all of this goes. We've got a long way to go, but they've been very exciting. And I'll tell you what, Philly fans, they need it. They need it after the way that things fell apart for this team last year. And so I couldn't be happier for Philly fans for the start that they've had.
All right, now speaking of the Rookie of the Year conversation, how about our guy here in Memphis, Cedric Coward? What have you thought of him through the first 4 games for the Grizzlies? He's been a fun addition, no doubt, for Grizzlies fans.
Yeah, I'll get to see him up close on Friday when the Lakers come to town. But that's certainly been a bright spot for Memphis. Now the Grizz, I do hope that they can get their guys back because they're the Lakers right now, the Grizzlies and the Pacers. My God, I mean the injury situation has been absolutely brutal with these teams. But Cedric Howard for sure is a bright spot and a reminder, like, hey, there's an exciting future here in Memphis beyond just beyond just some of the guys that they've got right now. They've got some young up and coming players that are going to continue to fuel this growth here moving forward for the club. So I'm really excited about him. And like I said, I can't wait to get to see these guys in person on Friday. I'm going to go to that one and get a look at them.
Yeah, how do you think they'll fare against the Lakers without LeBron and LeBron and Luka though? Austin Reeves been lighting it up with those guys out at least. I think he had 41 last night.
Yeah, in 41 a couple nights ago, at 51 the game before that, operating really well out of the pick and roll with DeAndre Ayton. But Marcus Smart is out again tonight for the Lakers, and they have 5 ball handlers, either primary or secondary creators. 4 of them are out, hurt. So what teams have been doing is just swarm Austin Reeves because nobody else can create anything. So that's what the Blazers did a few nights ago. So we'll see who is actually healthy. Jackson Hayes is supposed to return tonight, but this team, they are so beaten up. And again, Grizzlies fans aren't going to sympathize at all or aren't going to shed any tears for the Lakers because the Grizzlies have been incredibly injured too and are dealing with a lot of injuries to ball handlers specifically. But the Lakers are limping in to Memphis on Friday. Hopefully they stay healthy through tonight's game too against Minnesota.
Yeah, right. Now, last thing, a little more on the fun side, but we know that the new TV deal has kicked in. So you've had NBC. Obviously, you've had the Michael Jordan interview that they're just sort of stretching out over what feels like it's going to be half the season. Last night it was about load management, so everybody's been talking about that. We have Amazon Prime. What have you thought of the new coverage of the NBA, sort of adding on to what they had at ESPN?
I really enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it. It's been great. I think the quality has been fantastic. I like the focus on the court stuff and especially in a positive light, highlighting all the great things about the NBA and the great things about the sport. I think we had a great first week of the season with just the level of basketball we got. We got some really exciting games, some big high scoring games too. The pace is up around the NBA, so we're seeing some really fun stuff happening, and I love that the coverage is now focusing on that sort of stuff, on what's happening out there on the court and the great things that these players are doing. And I'll tell you what, there's just something that feels right when you're hearing round ball rock and everything associated with NBA
for
games.
Sure.
That definitely feels good.
Yeah, and like the intro, showing the intros, like making it a little more theatrical. I enjoy that because I felt like we missed that in the finals even last year. It just didn't feel like the finals with what was being carried there on ESPN. But I am glad ESPN's allowed inside the NBA sort of be the same. That's something I was worried about going into this season. But,
yes.
Trevor, I appreciate it. Great stuff as always. We'll do this again soon.
Yeah, that sounds great. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. He is Trevor Lane, host of Lakers Nation, also host of the Front Office Show with Keith Smith on X at Trevor_Lane, very conveniently. Now, make sure you get by Old Dominic. For Halloween, especially, during Halloween, they're going to have their cocktail contest. And with that, you can buy a ticket for $30 and you're going to have a free entry cocktail. You'll get a bunch of 1 ounce cocktails. They have a bunch of giveaways. They have a bunch of things that you could potentially win. You need to go buy that $30 ticket and show up to their Halloween cocktail party. And that would be at 305 South Front Street. But what I need to tell you about on top of that is no matter where you go to get your liquor and your spirits, get a bottle of Old Dominic because they do it better. Not only are they in town, they use that Memphis Aquifer water to distill all of their spirits, but they have a great selection. They have gin, vodka, toddy, whiskey, bourbon. Award-winning selections of that whiskey and bourbon. They have a new premium vodka for you vodka drinkers out there. So get over to your local liquor store and get a bottle of Old Dominic, as well as going and visiting them. You can book a tour and tasting at olddominic.com. You can ship Old Dominic spirits anywhere in the United States of America. You have extended family members and friends that don't get their hands on a bottle of Old Dominic all the time. Do that for them, whether it be at the holidays, for a birthday. They will absolutely love if you gift them a bottle of Old Dominic. But also, on top of that, they have a beautiful event space that they want me to tell you about. I have been there for multiple, wedding receptions, rehearsal dinners. It's phenomenal. You can get to that top floor. They have beautiful string lights. They're always going to have good drinks. The dance floor will be perfectly set up if you want it for a wedding reception, but you can also have it for a corporate luncheon. It could be an awards ceremony. It could be whatever. Just make sure you go to olddominic.com, fill out their questionnaire, and they will get you handled from there. But don't forget, coming up this Friday for Halloween, they have their cocktail contest, and $30 for the tickets. Go to olddominic.com to check that out. Old Dominic Distillery. Come say hi. Hour number 2 is on the way, and we'll open up hour number 2 with David Cobb from CBS Sports Per Normal. That's next.
92.9 FM, ESPN, Memphis' sports station. Listen to 92.9 FM.